New this morning, people here in West Michigan are feeling the impacts of the Taliban's recent takeover of Afghanistan. And Laura, you talked with a young Afghan man about his family's desperate fight to escape.
Yeah, Kirk, it's an extremely emotional, extremely difficult story. Meet Zabi Najafi. He's just 19 years old, an incoming freshman at Western Michigan University studying political science. Right now, his family is thousands of miles away, trapped in Afghanistan in hiding. In my exclusive one-on-one interview, Zabi tells me he's horrified and worried his family might get captured by the Taliban and worse.
It's just heartbreaking, and it's just nobody understands the pain of being, an Afghan, the pain of being just seeing your people murdered every day while the rest of the world is in silence.
Zabi hasn't seen or hugged his family since he was just a boy, 13 years old. That's when he left Afghanistan totally alone on a long multi-year journey as a refugee. You're looking now at pictures of his family, including his mom, a little brother, and 4 sisters, one of whom is a journalist. Communication in Afghanistan is very spotty right now. Zabi was finally able to contact his family after days of silence.
During the time that I wasn't able to contact them, Taliban, they came in the village and killed over 40 people, women, including women and children, of course, in my own village.
Right now, Zabi has no idea when or if he'll see his family again. Join us tonight on News Channel 3 for more on Zabi's story and his efforts to get his family to safety. And Kirk, I have to say, this is one of the most difficult, most challenging interviews that I've ever done in my career. But Zabi is an incredibly brave, resilient young man, only 19 years old. He's gone through so much.
Yeah, you could see the fear on his face, very understandable. And this as we come up on, we're now less than a month away from the 20th anniversary of 9/11, which is why U.S. troops went into Afghanistan after the attacks on the Twin Tower and Pentagon. I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday who served in Iraq, and he was telling me a friend of his here in West Michigan lost 2 fingers serving in Afghanistan. So the effect's not lost on Americans for sure. We'll be following this story for weeks and months.
The Consumers Energy live power outage map looks nearly spotless for the first time in almost a full week. Although some are still waiting in the dark tonight for their lights to go back on many days after the fact. News Channel 3's Chris Yu is joining us live in St. Joseph County tonight to pinpoint exactly where those remaining outages are. Chris.
Yeah, Andy, Consumers Energy tells me that most of its remaining customers without power should get it back by the end of tonight. This outage map is how we can track their progress. It says as of now, there's about 7,400 customers still in the dark in St. Joseph, Branch, and Hillsdale counties. Let me step out of this live truck to show you why. It's because of the numerous downed trees in this area. In fact, take a look at this sidewalk over here. You can see that the concrete here is actually lifted up because this massive tree had toppled over. In fact, underneath this branch is a downed power pole. So we asked Consumers Energy how crews are fixing this infrastructure. Colon, Michigan, known as the magic capital of the world.
Quite a swath of.
But for Bill Brandt, it'll take more than tricks to make these downed trees disappear.
Our wand was broken. It must have been broken. I'll have to go over to Greg's at Abbott's Magic Shop and see if I can get a new wand.
Brandt and his son Jack lost their power a week ago, so they've been relying on a generator.
So we were able to hook up to the main panel and keep our refrigerator lights and a small window air conditioner going, so we were quite comfortable.
They've also been clearing down trees for their neighbors.
But we kind of come together. We're a pretty close-knit community here in Colon.
Brandt and his family got their power back Saturday, but thousands did not. Consumers Energy says it's because of the extent of damage in St. Joseph, Branch, and Hillsdale counties.
When that wave came through, it took down a number of poles, trees, downed limbs, downed wires. And right now, what our crews are having to do, they're having to rebuild entire quarter-mile, half-mile stretches of infrastructure of our grid.
And Consumers says crews are working as fast as they can.
they've got a ton of layers, they've got a ton of gear. So they're in 16-hour shifts in these 90-degree weather days, working around the clock.
Here is a better view of that down power pole I had to mention earlier. Now, Consumers Energy says that there may be some remaining customers without power who will have to wait until tomorrow. But again, most are expected to get their power back by the end of tonight.
Many families and students are preparing to return to the classroom the next week or two. And as we move forward and look ahead to the upcoming school year, experts say you may be spending record amounts for both school and college supplies.
News Channel 3's Lexi Petrovich is live in studio this morning with why school items are costly and limited this year, plus what you need to know before your kids get back into the classroom. Lexi.
Well, families may need a bigger budget this year when it comes back to school shopping, and that's because clothing and supply prices are at an all-time high due mostly to a limited supply and inflation. Now, take a look at this. The National Retail Federation says families with children in elementary through high school plan to spend an average of just under $850 on back-to-school items. That's about a $60 increase from last year.
Nervous, especially with it being a new school.
Kayla Philippi,
You give me high fives as you come down?
is a West Michigan mom of 3 kids,
High five.
with a 4th on the way.
Last year was COVID, but I feel like everybody was a little more prepared, where this year it seems to be pretty last minute.
Her kids are switching school districts this year, but she says they haven't received a school supply list, less than 2 weeks from school starting.
Let's go to school. School can be under here.
While families are planning to spend more money on K-12 students in every category, the National Retail Federation says electronics and clothing are seeing the biggest increases this year. And Kayla says it's taking a hit on her wallet.
I get a couple of outfits, like first day and picture outfits. With that included, I'd say about $350 total in clothing and school supplies per child.
I spoke with Zach Williams, the director for Western Michigan University's Center for Integrated Supply Management and associate professor of marketing. He says a labor shortage coupled with the uncertainty of fall classes being in person or virtual have contributed to limited supplies this year. He's also alerting people to start their holiday shopping early because you'll likely run into similar supply issues.